सलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Hare Krishna, everyone. We'll continue reading chapter 7, which is about mind. What does the mind uh, what does the mind want? Everything, anything. It moves from one thing to another quickly and with unrelenting demands, rejecting one thing, accepting another, and then suddenly rejecting that very same thing it has only just accepted. This is because it is the mind's nature simply to want. To overcome and train the mind requires a battle of neglect. As Srila Prabhupada states in his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 11, verse 17, there is one easy weapon with which the mind can be conquered: neglect. The mind is always telling us to do this or that. Therefore, we should be very expert in disobeying the mind's orders. Gradually, the mind should be trained to obey the orders of the soul. It is not that one should obey the orders of the mind. The Avanti Brahmana. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna tells Uddhava the story of the Avanti Brahmana. The Avanti Brahmana was an extremely wealthy merchant who was such a miser that he refused to spend money on himself, even for his own sense enjoyment, on worship of the demigods, on his family, to give charity, or to pay his taxes. He was held fast in the mind's grip, simply collecting, and he lived a miserable existence. Because of his miserliness, all those to whom he should have given money turned against him. Gradually at first, and then suddenly the Avanti Brahmana lost everything. Instantly his family rejected him and he was turned out into the street penniless. It causes great suffering to have had wealth and then to have lost it, because the loss challenges one's illusory sense of identity. The Avanti Brahmana's mind was tortured by his sudden change in circumstances. But despite his miserliness, he was a pious man, and by Krishna's grace, he gained realization, the gist of which is given in the 23rd chapter of the 11th canto, text 42 to 57. His realization brought him peace because he came to understand the cause of his misery. Although people were unspeakably cruel to him, spitting on him, ridiculing him, passing urine on the food he had baked, taking his few clothes and throwing them away, he found a place within himself where his happiness could not be disturbed by anything external. He realized that so many of our dealings relate to dividing the world into friends and enemies, another form of ichcha and dvesha, attraction and repulsion, but these dealings relate only to the mind. The Avanti Brahmana found a shelter other than his own mind and achieved peace, and achieved peace. We too want to reach a shelter beyond the mind. As long as we take shelter of the mind, we have to live separately from Krishna, actually in hell. The Avanti Brahmana says, these people are not the cause of my happiness and distress. Neither are the demigods, my own body, the planets, my past work or time. Rather, it is the mind alone that causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 23, verse 42. It is the mind alone Shrotram chaksusah sparsanam cha rashanam granameva cha adhisthaya manaschayam vishayan upashevate. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. Bhagavad Gita 15.9. To become free of the mind's tyranny, it is imperative to become detached from the mind's wanting and hating. The Avanti Brahmana continues, all the senses have been under the control of the mind since time immemorial, and the mind himself never comes under the sway of any other. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 23, verse 47. When we are attached to something and someone else tries to take it from us, we might do anything to protect that object of our attachment. Hundreds of thousands of people have killed one another over attachments. Text 47 arts. The mind is stronger than the strongest, and his godlike power is fearsome. Therefore, anyone who can bring the mind under control becomes the master of all the senses. Text 48. Failing to conquer this irrepressible enemy, the mind, whose urges are intolerable and who torments the heart. Many people are completely bewildered and create useless quarrel with others. Thus, they conclude that other people are either their friends, their enemies, or parties indifferent to them. I'll stop here and just conclude such a beautiful so many nice informations are given here, like how we are seeing how mind is troubling us. We read in so many scriptures about mind, and today I felt like it's a very beautiful summary given here, like how the mind is controlling. Sometimes, like it's the example of Avanti Brahman is given here, like how he was when he had lots of wealth, he was so miser, and suddenly he became a beggar on the street where he was tortured by different people, but he found something beyond mind where he will not be disturbed by any external things. So then Avanti Brahmana, like he was saying, it's when sometimes we even think like when we see some difficult situation, we think it's because of the other people, they're creating trouble for me, or maybe my astrology, like we go to astrologers to show like if something wrong is there in like some planets are not working fine. We think so many things, but we never consider that it's our own mind who is troubling us. And it's mentioned that how powerful mind is, like since time immemorial, mind is controlling, like when we're changing from one gross body to another, and all our senses are under the control of mind, and mind is so powerful, like it is mentioned that it's like god-like power mind has. And if someone stops taking shelter of mind and finds something beyond that, like what is that thing? Shelter of Lord Krishna. We have to understand that happiness will not find externally. Nobody, we should not be dependent on anyone for our happiness. We have to find happiness within. Once we'll control our mind, nobody has that power, to give us misery, or to like will not be dependent on anyone once we'll control our own mind. So to do that, we have to, like it's mentioned that what is that one rule? We have to fight a battle. And what is the main thing in that battle is just neglect. Once we'll neglect whatever is coming, like the mind's demands, if we'll start neglecting it, we'll like will we are going to win that battle. So to do that, we have to have a very strong faith on Lord Krishna, and we have to take shelter at Lord Krishna's faith, at Lord Krishna's lotus feet. We have to believe that Avashya Rakshiva Krishna Vishwashavalana. We have to have that strong faith that Krishna will protect me. Krishna is my only maintainer and will always reject mind's demands. Once in Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned the chapter 6 is like entirely Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 6 is mostly about mind, like when Arjuna was telling Krishna that it's very difficult for him. See, like persons like great personality like Arjuna, for him also it was very difficult to control mind. And Krishna says, yes, it's difficult, but with abhyash, like with practice, we can control our mind. If we'll control our mind, mind will be the best friend. And if we cannot control, always listen to our mind, will be like a servant of our mind, then it will be like the worst enemy. Mind has so much of power. Yeah, once we'll bring the mind at the lotus feet of Krishna, the mind will automatically stop, stop doing the nonsense activities. Yeah, that's my understanding. Very, very important actually, for not only for devotees, for everyone. It's mentioned that so many people are killing each other because of this uncontrolled mind. If something is coming to mind and started analyzing that, okay, this is happening because of that person, this is happening of this person. Yeah, so many, like we're getting so much of misery, so many of battles, so many fightings going on among each other because of this uncontrolled mind. Yeah, that's my